It comes on this coming week. Yeah, next 2 weeks. Yeah. No, I just know they run the first day this week, and then they'll do the second day next week. So.
We're recording?
Yeah.
All right. Chuck, you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Okay. That would. Thank you, sir. Chuck's one want to make sure we're getting out of here in time because for some reason we do have a football game today or something like that. So at this time, let's call the Planning Commission meeting to order. I'd love to have Mr. Slay, if you would. Can you do our invocation for us, please, sir?
Thank you as we pause, acknowledging your presence here with us, Father, acknowledging the blessings that you have bestowed on us as a county, as a people. Father, thank you for those blessings. As we approach the new year, Father, we ask for your presence with us, your blessing upon us, Lord, your watch care over us, your protection of our community. Father, thank you for the men and women who serve us faithfully to protect us, our police, our firefighters, Lord, our emergency operations folks. We want to thank you at this time, Lord, for the sacrifices that they make to keep us safe. Father, thank you for these gentlemen and for the active service that they commit each time they come before this body. I pray, Father, that you'll give us wisdom and discernment in the name of Christ.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Craig. Okay, at this time we have a consideration and approval of November 26, 2014 minutes.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Keith. Got any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Old business?
There's nothing under old business.
Okay. New considerations, please.
Okay, the first item under new considerations is a conditional use request from Johnny Rowland on Mount Helm Road. The property is on the south side of Mount Helm Road. He owns 64 acres and he's requesting the conditional use permit to operate a 100% recyclable tree service business. He also wants to use a portion of the property for a corn, maize, and a pumpkin patch that will be open to the public. The property is zoned RE1, and he's actually going to just use the 40-acre parcel for his business. So it'd be this portion of the property. This is his site plan. He shows the entrance coming in off of Mount Helm. He plans to build a pole barn where he can park his tractors and equipment. This is the area where he proposes to separate firewood and pulpwood from trees from his tree service business only. Those will be the only trees that are brought into the property. He'll separate it here in this area and then grind what's left into mulch. There will be no rubbish or debris left on the property. The area in the back here is where the cornfield and the pumpkin patch will be. This is the view of the property. This is one of the landfills in that area. And these are just other surrounding properties.
Or do you have pictures of what's close to him?
Directly across the street is the landfill.
Oh, it is? Oh, okay. So he doesn't have to worry about unsightliness then, huh?
And he's here if y'all have any questions.
Well, this is Walter's district, right?
It
Yeah,
is.
well, I think, Mr. Rowland, you've already talked to Mr. Johnson on this, correct? In depth. And I think he had asked me to ask you a couple questions, make sure that whenever you said that you're going to be bringing in your debris, it's going to be just your debris only, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And I guess the other question he had asked me was how far off of the main road is the grinder going to be?
It'll probably be
150 to 200 feet?
Well, my part of Mount Helm Road is on a gravel road. Actually, Lake and Drive would be the main road. Mount Helm turns off. It is probably, the closest house is probably 2,500 feet.
Okay.
From where the grinder would be.
Right. And what hours of operation, days of the week were you proposing on that?
The grinder would be run Monday through Friday, probably from 8 to 5.
Okay.
You said there's a house 2,500 feet away? That's pretty close, isn't it?
No, it's pretty good distance. What did you say, Jim? 20,000 feet of litter.
Yeah.
It's probably further than that.
Yeah.
Half a mile?
No, it's it's probably
Mhm.
an eighth of a mile or maybe.
25 feet would be
I've
half a
already
mile.
spoken to several residents.
2,500 would be
in the
about
area,
half
and
a
they
mile.
don't have a problem with it. The guy that lives the closest to it, he's all for it.
Oh, in the house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Gary Washington.
Oh, all right.
So you've already discussed them with,
Yes.
okay.
Where's your current business?
And closed on Liberty Road.
On the, when you mulch this, you know, your debris and stuff, is it for pickup there? If you know the public, is the public gonna be picking that up there, or how's that gonna?
We'll
How will
deliver
that-
some, and people can come there and pick it up as well.
Is it specific types of wood that you're gonna be doing, or is it all types? I mean, is it,
It's all wood, all trees.
okay.
So we're setting a public hearing, right?
Yeah, just set a public hearing.
I make a motion to set the public hearing for, when is it? January 15th?
Yeah, January 15th. Motion by Mr. Bishop.
Second.
Second by Mr. Keith. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay.
Okay,
Thank
next
you.
is a conditional use request from Peoples Construction Corporation at 167 Gooley Road. Property's located on the north side of Gooley Road. It's a 12.3 acre parcel that's owned by Killen Contractors, Inc. They're an electrical contractor. You can see their existing building on the property. The new building will be going approximately in this location. They're requesting to add a 7,000 square foot metal building for vehicle storage. These are the elevations of the metal building. And the materials and the color will look like their existing building shown here. This is just the rest of his property, and these are surrounding properties.
So you talked to Walter about this?
He knows about it. He's okay with it.
He's good with it? I make a motion to set the public hearing.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
All right, the next item is a conditional use request for Willie Mae Fleming at 337 Bell Cove. Her property is at the very end of Bell Cove, which is off of Johnny Bell Road. Ms. Fleming is requesting a conditional use permit for a 1969 manufactured home that was placed on her property in 2009. It's a .74 acre parcel. It's zoned A2, which requires a minimum lot size of 1 acre. It's just an aerial view of the property. And this is just a view looking from her property back toward Johnny Bell Road. She's surrounded by woods, and she's at the very end. This is a picture of the mobile home. It's already on the property. And these are just adjoining property owners.
Okay. John, you've already checked this mobile home out, and everything looks in order. I know it's, like I said, it's a 69, but it was placed there in 2009. It sounds, so it's been sitting vacant, I guess, for that long. Is that what? Okay. But everything looks good then? Okay. I'll make the motion to set that public hearing for January 15th.
So moved.
Motion by myself, second by Mr. Morrison. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Okay, the last item under new considerations is a conditional use with dimensional variance request for Willie Gavin, Inc. at 116 Lake Vista Place. Lake Vista comes in off of Spillway Road. Willie Gavin is requesting a conditional use permit for a mini storage facility. It's a 4.92 acre parcel that's zoned C2. The property is located behind Fred's off of Spillway Road. This is the Freds, and this is the MEA. Also, Regatta subdivision is to the south of this property. Okay, this is a view of the site plan showing the actual storage buildings. They're proposing 7 buildings. This building will have an office area and be climate controlled. They're also requesting a 5-foot variance between these buildings. It's required that they have 30 feet distance between the buildings, and they're asking for a 5-foot variance from that. Also, at the back, Mr. Parker has decided to make these buildings no taller than 10 feet where it borders Regatta. He does show an outside parking area of 41,426 square feet. There's an existing 6-foot wooden fence along the Regatta property line, and he has proposed to replace it with an 8-foot fence. Okay, this is just a simulated view of what the building will look like. He's proposing all brick front facing Spillway Road. All walls facing Spillway will be brick, and all walls visible above the side and rear fences will be faux brick, which we have a sample of.
Is that going to surround the whole facility?
Brick on the front, and then what's visible from the Regatta subdivision will be the faux brick. He's got
what about
some
on the sides?
He's here, but I've got just a few more pictures, and then he
Okay.
can answer the questions. This is just a simulated view as seen from the adjoining Regatta landowners on completion. He's saying that he'll have 15-gallon Leland cypress and gem magnolias planted at 10 foot on center in the buffer area between the fence and the building. And this is a simulated view with the Leland cypress in place. Okay, and this shows the 8-foot fence and the sight line of what would be visible. It would be the faux brick panel. And this just shows with the house at Regatta in your fence, and what they would be able to see would be the faux brick. This is the actual property. This is to the east. And now he has an existing tree line here that he plans to leave. This is to the west. And this is Fannin Market, Dr. Brown. This is the MEA.
That area that you showed right there, was that green lot, is this his property?
Mr. Parker owns
Yeah,
all
that's the
of
bowling alley,
Mhm.
I think.
But Mr. Parker owns the area to the north, back towards Spillway Road. All the property along here that's not developed, Mr. Parker owns.
Okay.
This is the Freds. He is here if you have any questions.
Can you go back to the very first picture?
All the way.
Yeah, the very first one.
Or
One more. Well, right there.
Right there. Where?
That dirt.
this is out along Old Fannin right here. You talking about this area?
Yeah.
Is
This
that the
is
one?
Fannin Market. This is the bowling alley, and this is where they were proposing that car.
Car wash.
Okay.
Right. Now, where in relation to this? Show me where the
This
store-
is at the end of the cul-de-sac is where his mini storage facility would be.
Where's he entering from?
He's gonna, well, this is Spillway Road out
Uh-huh.
here. You coming in off
Okay,
of Lake
yeah, I see
Vista.
it. Yeah, Fred's on one side.
This
and
is
MEA on the
Fred's,
other.
and this is the MEA.
in the subdivision to
And
the
this
south.
is Regatta
Right.
to the
Regatta.
south.
And to the right of that, to my
Uh,
right, the subdivision right there. Right
This
there.
is the villas of the reservoir.
Villas. Okay.
So
This is
it's
just-
gonna be contained in that square right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, on that northern part of it, I mean, the southern part of his that borders Regatta, what was that going to be again as far as what was going to be the buffer? What was he proposing buffer?
He's proposing to, there's an existing 6-foot fence, and he's proposing to make an 8-foot fence there. He'll also have a buffer there with Leland cypress and gem magnolias.
Are these full size or just babies that are going to grow up, or how's that? At the start.
15 gallon, I think, is what he's proposing.
15 gallon?
Mhm.
Okay.
You want to see those big pictures again? This is the fence, and he's saying he'll have 15-gallon Leland cypress and gem magnolias planted at 10 foot on center in the buffer area between the fence and the building.
Okay.
That end result right there. So how many years will it take to get those trees to that high?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting to. What?
About 30 days, 6 months.
Hey, Mark, that's what I was getting at. Is it going to be full-size trees coming in?
15 gallon won't fit in that. I mean, it's big.
Right.
It takes several years.
Yeah, it'll take a couple years.
But you'll have the fence and it'll grow in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we try to find some fast growing,
Right.
evergreen, low maintenance, highly resistant type plant material. Obviously, we're the developer, we own the rest of the property. This is, the good news is this is a conditional use, so you have the hammer whenever you need it. It's not like a rezoning. And so if something, so you put the conditions on the approval, and if something goes haywire, like there's a dead tree and you haven't placed it, you got the
Well,
hammer to take care of it.
let me ask that question, and just because you brought up a good point, where the trees are on his land, who's on the south side of this fence? Whose land would that be? Would that be Regatta?
Almost.
So
You
if
know where that swimming pool was?
yeah, so if branches start easing over in there and breaking off and stuff like that, whose responsibility and all that
Well,
is?
that's
It
the
is.
who owns the tree and who's responsible for the branches and the branch load. But the Leland cypress are fairly tall growing shrubs, and so I don't expect you to have a live oak situation or something like
Right.
that. You're not gonna have heavy branches.
They don't
over the
shed either, do they?
No.
Yeah.
Okay,
No.
okay, good.
No, but what I was concerned about on each side of you, what's your plan for surrounding the whole facility?
Okay, well, there'll be a decorative fence around the facility. One of the things that, one of the points that we wanted to make about this development is that currently, under the C2 zoning, a structure, a box structure like a ditch or whatever, could go in and the back wall could be 35 feet with no windows, and there's really no requirement that it be brick, so he could put it in. Now, obviously, nobody in Regatta wants that.
Right.
And they could put it 50 feet off of the property line and it'd be there. And in fact, there are already currently situations where people have built fairly close to the Avalon and to the Regatta subdivision that I think are things that we can do better about. I want to give you these pictures and maybe.
Please.
Now, don't we come over here showing us up, man?
Well, you know there was a plan for him to come over.
And what this is this is an apartment complex that currently adjoins the back side of Regatta. Renee, where is this at?
Backside of the gun.
Not sure on that. This is the villas.
You mean
This is
you mean
Regatta.
Avalon
Tree right
possibly?
against it.
You know what the
Oh, our picture's not gonna show that.
Bottom right-hand side of that picture. Okay. And so what we're trying to do is trying to avoid this.
This apartment complex that's
Well,
over.
Well, what it is it's a two-story structure with windows on the top floor looking into the yard behind.
Yeah.
And we don't want that.
Right.
And so, which could happen, I guess, if there were other developments. The other thing that I want to point out on this proposed development is that from the site distance, and Renee pointed that out, the site distance from Regatta, your site distance will see a brick trail on the other side of the other side of the fence. The other point I want to make is
And we'll have these at the hearing, but we have photographs of the other self-storage places in the general area. And the point I want to make about that is that when you drive by those self-storage places, you see outside parking, you see chain link fencing. Okay, number one, there's no chain link fencing on this proposal. Number two, you cannot drive by. Number one, it's not on Spillway Road, so you've got to get off on the cul-de-sac to get there. But number two, when you get there, you won't see the off-street parking because it's, as you can see within the diagram, the off-street parking is contained within the process, so you won't be able to see that when you come in the entrance and you get to the parking lot. Your sight distance will begin right about here, but when you're driving up here, you won't see.
Yeah, you'll have to basically take a left to get in to see it.
Right, and so that to us is important from the standpoint of the aesthetics of the area. You'll also notice the cul-de-sac, the pictures of the cul-de-sac, and that's the current condition. The problem with that is there's no development down there. And so with no development down there, and although Joe's very vigilant and this is family property and they get back there a lot, it's just has the remnants of things that we want to get it cleaned up, we want activity back there, and this will, I think, and they're to the benefit. We provided to you in your packet, and I know we'll get into this more in the hearing, but there's a report from Bridge and Watson, who are community development, zoning experts, to give you an idea as to why, from a conditional use standpoint, this is a good idea. And it meets all of the criteria, and I'm not going to go through the entirety of that report because you have it in your packet, and we'll get to it at some point. But if there are some people from the audience that are interested in this, we'd like to make sure that we either get them a copy or a copy is provided from the board that will kind of outline why this, as opposed to something else, will be a good development. It's low impact. You shouldn't expect much activity on this particular area. There's not a lot of in and out traffic from the standpoint of in the back over there by Regatta, and it does provide them a buffer and some guarantees. All of the things that you heard from Renee about the development can be put in the condition of the approval. Mr. Parker has obtained agreements from 6 of the adjoining landowners that live in Regatta, in addition to Mr. Primos and Mr. Brown, who have property in the general area. And with the conditions that he's proposed, they're okay with it. And so we've done all the due diligence we can. We just ask you to give us consideration at the public hearing, and if you have any questions that we can submit and give you additional information before then, we're glad to do it.
I'd like to know about at night. This has got to be lit. I haven't seen any lighting and what that lighting is going to look like to that area in Regatta.
I know we submitted a site plan. I don't know if it had a lighting plan, but there shouldn't be any lighting directed toward Regatta at all. I mean, you'll have certainly some security lighting in the back that'll kind of, for your, that'll be off the corners, but there's not going to be, the way everything's configured, I don't think there are any doors on the back side there, so there shouldn't be any activity on the back of those buildings that are up to Regatta. That's just going to be the back. There won't be driveways or anything like that. But we can submit a lighting plan that's acceptable. Obviously, we want to make it as clean and as attractive as possible, but whatever's necessary in that regard.
And you said there's going to be a camera system installed at this? Okay.
I didn't say that, but I think it's in the submission. And
okay.
It's kind of part of the whole overall development. But there'll be a camera system that'll be secured. It's at the end of the cul-de-sac, so you've got to know where you're going. In other words, you got to get there.
So you'll basically know who's coming and going out of this facility? Okay.
Renee, the 25 feet is kind of standard now, isn't it?
30
feet?
feet?
Seems like everyone we've approved in the last few years.
Getting a 5 foot.
We might as well just take out 30 and make it 25.
Yeah, then they'll be asking for 20 though, Jay.
Well,
I think you could get 2 cars beside each other.
You got to be able to get in and get out.
Right.
Because basically, and you'll read in the watching report, there's not a whole lot of parking that occurs here. Everything is pretty much, they drive up to the door,
right.
You've done it, you unload and you go. Anything less than 25 feet and it becomes impractical for,
right.
For the customer, and they won't do business with you.
Right.
They can't get in and get out.
Yeah, that's kind of a no-brainer on that one.
Of course, we have the agreements that we've submitted, we've got the photographs that we've submitted, the watching report is submitted, basic market information that we've provided is submitted. If there's any additional information, let us know.
I guess my question too to Rodney would be, and also Renee, have we gotten a lot of negativity on this, or I know that this has kind of been on an ongoing.
All we do is set the public hearing. We're gonna get plenty of that at the hearing, man.
I'm just wondering up front.
You've got a month. It's coming.
Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome.
Do I have a motion to
What
set
day's
this?
that one scheduled? I'm gonna be gone.
February.
Yeah.
No.
February 2nd. You'll be here. Do I have a motion to set this public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
I have a question though. Why are we not doing that the 15th?
We didn't get all the information in.
Well, I'm really not gonna be here that meeting.
Really not.
Seriously, I'm not.
And get everything reviewed and everything, so. that's
You want to go
fine.
ahead, Bud?
Well, I would like to be here actually.
Well, we'll see what we can do to get you here.
We can forward all phone calls to you
Right.
since you won't be here.
I'll just give you my proxy.
Thank you, Mark.
Would we need to move it to the, is that February 2nd we're talking about? Or would it be better for the?
You could do it on the 15th. if
Can
you
we do it on
wanted
the
to.
15th?
We can do it on.
Yeah.
That'll be okay?
15th be fine?
He'll be here. All right.
Or whatever board meeting.
Whatever.
day.
That second meeting, we could do it then.
Second
if
meeting in
that's-
February?
Yeah.
If there are any requests that come in that we can respond to and provide additional information in the interim, we'll be glad to do it. Just communicate
Okay.
with me or Joe, and we'll get that to you pretty quick. We've got Chris Watson will be here, and we'll have others that can speak.
So when I get requests, shoot them.
So we need
Your
to.
wife.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think we've addressed, the one thing I do want to point out is that Mr. Parker has spent a considerable amount of time speaking with and interacting with the homeowners association and with the homeowners in Regatta. And in fact, when he got the report from Watson and Bridge, submitted that report and sent that report to the HOA. So it's not like, you know, we're sneaking in and trying to, and when he interacted with the homeowners out there and they made the suggestions, virtually all of those suggestions have been incorporated into the plant material, the fencing, the faux brick, the other things like that. And those homeowners have realized, that a known is better than an unknown.
Right.
This known is much better than what could be, based on the C2 zoning that currently exists, and wouldn't have to come ask for anything other than whatever site plan review process occurs for the building of a new commercial building. And so I think the homeowners out there that we've interacted with and have agreements realize that, you know, from the standpoint of what could be there, this is pretty good. Thank you.
Okay.
Mark, can you get us some details on the lighting?
We'll get you a lighting plan. We'll have that for you.
Okay, we need to amend the motion to reset the public hearing for the 16th.
Just set it for the 16th.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
So
to
moved.
Motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Keith. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank y'all. Okay, anything else on new considerations?
No.
Okay, do we have a site plan architectural review?
We do for St. Hill Church of God in Christ at 429 Andrew Chapel Road. The property is located on the west side of Andrew Chapel Road. The church owns 3 acres there. The site plan, the aerial photo shows the existing church and their parking area. The addition will be going to the rear of the existing church. They're going to add 3,714 square feet for a fellowship hall. This is just the floor plan showing the layout. And these are the elevations. This is a view of the existing church. Now the materials are going to match the existing church. It will be the brick and the shingles and all will be the same color. You can see the addition will go to the back. It is next door to the Evergreen Fire Department. And then these are other surrounding properties.
Okay.
That's good.
You were
Also,
saying something
Mr.
about-
Parker, we had gotten in the drainage plans, and he hasn't had a chance to review them. So if you approve it, if you would do it contingent upon his approval of the drainage plan.
Okay. Do I have a motion to set that public hearing?
No,
we're
I'm sorry,
approving.
we're approving or what? Contingent upon. Do I have that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve contingent upon our engineer approving their site plan.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Keith. Any more questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, anything else on site plan architectural?
That's it.
All righty. Thank you, guys. All right. Anything else before we?
Hang on, there's a guy with the bees.
Okay.
The same guy you sent me a picture about, you know, I happen to deer hunt with this fella, but supposedly that guy has like many, many beehives out there.
I think he does have multiple bee boxes. Dwayne went out and looked at it. He said that they're not close to the property lines.
I thought what we did, our ordinance said there was no more beehives in residential subdivisions.
Y'all asked to remove that. Or-
Yeah, that was removed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hallelujah, dang.
So we don't have anything that specifically addresses the bees.
Planning subdivisions is what we were considering, but that got.
All right, so what else did we remove out of, just the bees? Or
And
can you-
chickens.
We added several
Chickens.
items. Renee
Bees and
can help you
chickens.
with the
Are you
details.
serious?
Yeah.
Serious?
We left chickens?
No, you took them out too. Bees and chickens.
Just in your district.
Wait, so what, chicken?
In platted residential subdivisions.
What we take it out?
The beehives and the
Why did we
chickens.
do the chicken man?
And we
that
actually
on
had a
chickens.
call
How'd
from
we do
somebody at
that?
Farmington Station
We didn't do it.
where somebody
Yeah.
had moved in and had chickens.
Cleared?
Are you serious?
I'm serious.
I think they took it out.
Well, how'd that, then we had that, with that public hearing on the one at, Cleary that had all the many chickens.
That's the guy I'm talking about. You know, I deer hunt with a fellow that lives next door to him, and he said he got bees everywhere, and it's a situation with him.
He was running the chickens.
Oh,
around.
I know what you're talking about now. Yeah, but we did something with the chickens.
We worked that as a nuisance property. You know, he had to take down his cage and his pens and clean
Right.
up. There were other issues there as well.
Right.
So it's just more than just the chickens. It was the unsightliness and everything
It
else
was
that going
more
along.
than
right?
just the chickens.
Gotcha.
He had
Yeah.
a large number though, and
Yeah, they were all
he agreed
named.
to.
All 50 of them.
It wasn't 3 or 4.
Bunch.
Right.
Okay. You satisfied there, Mr. Bishop?
No, not really, but I
I don't know,
All I say is you need to get you a beehive, whatever you call it.
don't know. I'm gonna go right out there myself just so I can look at it. I've never been out there.
Better
But
get you-
according to this guy, he's like, he keeps it trashed.
well,
It's winter time now, so everything's dead.
he,
And it looks good,
he doesn't keep it as nice as the rest of the area.
but according to him, that, you know, the whole rest of the place looks good. Just around his house is crap. You know, he leaves garbage out everywhere, and but I told him wrong. I forgot we pulled bees out and chickens. Really? Why did we pull out chickens though?
I don't remember taking the
Because-
chickens out, I really don't. I remember the
don't-
bees.
Yeah.
Okay, any more questions? We'll check on that, on that.
I can't
vote
believe
and
he ain't
everything.
called me, cause he called me a dozen times during all that. And the only thing I heard was,
Well, he thought that he had talked to Dwayne, and Dwayne had told him that it was going back to court, and then I found out about it, and you know, I asked Renee last week, and they said Dwayne went by and took some pictures, said it looks fine. So obviously he's not real happy about it. But I stepped off anyway. I said, "Oh, we did ordinance for you can't have bees, so he's fixing to get them suckers gone." So now I got to backtrack on that. So
Renee and John, if y'all will check on I guess the bees and the chickens, must make sure what the wording and
Well,
everything
you
says
do,
in
yeah,
there,
'cause
especially.
do chickens, you don't wanna, I mean, you're out there around water.
It was taken out
Okay,
Can't go,
on the bees and chickens.
so the wording completely took it out. So
It just excluded bees
Excluded 'em.
and chickens.
I don't remember excluding the chickens. I really don't.
me either.
But obviously we did.
okay,
I guess it does become of a, was that one we were talking about because, people there were actually pigs and livestock in backyards of platted subdivisions?
correct.
Yes, sir.
That's where it kind of originated
Yeah.
from. That's right.
We got the word.
And so,
Yep.
but we took out the, but that was for platted subdivisions.
Yeah.
Right. Is basically where it all kind of stemmed from.
But is Cleary a platted subdivision? I don't think so.
Oh yeah, it is.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't know about that far back.
I'll let our attorney answer that question.
I'm not 100% sure about it. I haven't looked at it in a while, but it seems like my recollection is it is a platted subdivision.
I'd be curious because Cleary's been there since I was a child. That subdivision.
Confident that it is.
Okay.
Broken down into lots.
Okay.
I mean, Robin Hood is a platted subdivision.
Yes, it is.
Cleary's older than Robin Hood.
Is it?
Yeah. Cleary Heights, is that what it's called? Cleary Heights. Yeah.
So it is platted.
Okay.
Yeah.
If y'all want to know what the wording, what we ended up with, it says livestock and wild animals shall not be kept, harbored, raised, or permitted to run at large on any property in platted residential subdivisions. And then we listed the zones. It's the small lots, R1, R1B, R1C, R1D, R3, R4, PUD, mobile home park, mobile home subdivision, or RMX.
You said run loose was, that means they just put a fence up and they're clear
Well,
there.
they can't be kept, harbored, raised, or
Oh, okay.
permitted to
All right.
run at
Harbored.
large
All right. Okay.
Are these bees
in
being
platted
harbored?
residential subdivisions.
I guess we have a definition for livestock, and that's where there was a discussion of what should be included.
As livestock. Right.
And I don't,
We've got, let's see.
Honestly, I thought the whole reason all this came up was because of chickens.
No, it
Didn't you have a
started
complaint about chickens?
started out as a pot.
Started out with, yeah,
Oh,
but
pig.
chickens
Pigs,
was, that had been resolved when this came up before.
The definition of livestock is those animals which are normally considered as farm animals, such as cattle, goats, sheep, horses, ponies, mules, emus, llamas, pigs, any animal in the swine family. Oh, chickens is in here. Chickens, turkeys, ducks, geese, and
Thank
other
you.
similar animals. So chickens was left there.
Still got
we
chickens.
just
Took
got the
bees
bees.
out.
bees in there.
Well, I'm ready to put them back in now. No, I'm not, seriously. I mean, but
Well, at least we got some clarity on it, so the
But you know
chickens
what,
are
Ray,
in.
Could
in
have
some
some.
defense, bees don't, unless you
I was gonna say,
approach that box,
we
they
ought to be
don't
able
go
to
out
put
stinging
something in
you.
there about where you can have bees, but if they become a nuisance where they start stinging people, then
Yeah, you get a kid over there close to it.
I guess
Well, I
we can
don't-
still do that on nuisance, no matter if they're permitted or not.
I don't know how close they are to the fence, to the property line, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure that it's gonna matter, quite honestly, when you start talking about a platted residential subdivision, you're talking about a small area to begin with, or a smaller area. I guess you have larger lot, but, the long and short of it is, once you put that beehive box in place, they're going to travel and, do what they do.
Yeah.
I assume this guy's problem is that they,
Which probably he got a newborn at home
Yeah.
and he's freaking out because he don't want his kids getting stung by a bee.
Well,
So-
the thing is, they're not, well, I understand what you're saying, but a bee is not a
Oh, this
wrestler
is
like
just
a
a-
wasp.
This is just a combination of things been going on for a
I
while.
think so. Yeah, they had there was an incident there after the chicken deal. I
Really?
think the sheriff wound up out there.
Oh. Oh,
Well, sheriff's department.
all right.
You didn't, sheriff's
All right,
department.
that's for
Okay.
another day to look
Yep,
at.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any more questions?
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
All right, next meeting will be held on Thursday, January 29th, 2015, 9 a.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Bishop. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Okay, at this time, we'll call to order the meeting for the Rankin County Board of Supervisors work session. Mr. Craig Slay, Board Attorney.
We're gonna start this off with a bang.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm about to jump ahead. Hold on.
Yes, you have the
Y'all-
Freeport warehouse.
Yes. Sent out a little advisory about this one. We had one Freeport warehouse tax exemption request that did not get handled from First Choice Medical Supply. This is a District 1 business, it's Jared's district. First Choice Medical Supply has requested through our normal process, going through Rankin first, going through their board, submitting all of the required documentation for the approval of a Freeport warehouse tax exemption. Rankin First's board considered the request, that they met the requirements, and they granted the exemption, subject to this board obviously having the ultimate authority to grant the exemption. Freeport warehouse tax exemption applies to inventory items, goods that are stored, kept for ultimate delivery outside the state of Mississippi. And so First Choice Medical Supply has a facility in Richland that they store inventory items, and then those items are sold out of state. And so the state law allows for an exemption on the value of those items so that they're not considered a part of First Choice's inventory for purposes of calculating what they owe in personal property tax to Rankin County, since they're going out of state. I may have mentioned this to one or more of you, that why do we have something like this? It's basically to provide an incentive for companies to actually physically store inventory items in Mississippi, in Rankin County, Mississippi, for sale out of state, as opposed to locating those items and the jobs that are associated with dealing with those items somewhere else. And so this is a small incentive to provide basically out-of-state inventory in Rankin County.
And we're only exempting their inventory, not their.
And it's only that inventory, Jay, that is actually sold out of state.
Right.
It's important to
So you're not
understand.
How
talking
do you
about
know?
the entire.
I mean, how do you know what's
keep
sold
up
out of
with
state
that?
and in state?
It's like, I believe, and we don't have our assessor here, but speaking on his behalf, everything that we do in terms of taxing personal property in Rankin County is on the honor system. What is paid in personal property tax to Rankin County by
Right.
any business in Rankin County is on the basis of a rendition form that is sent to that business about this time of year, and they tell us what they have on hand on January 1, and the values are on that basis. And so we have a system, obviously, where we do random checks. We actually send folks out, appraisers from John's office, who
Right.
go out and double check to see that we're being told the truth. So there is a bit of a check and balance that's there, but not everybody gets audited.
And even if somebody was to show up, they could still say, "Oh, yeah, that's all for out of state." You know.
Yeah, I mean, that's.
Well,
Just
and the
like
law,
they come
by
to
the
your
way,
business, you know.
FYI, the law does allow for John's office to actually do a check. State Tax Commission can also do that same check to determine whether or not the items that they're claiming are out of state are showing up on their internal financial documents as items that were actually sold in state.
And what are the chances we're gonna show up and do that?
Probably small, but there's not a whole lot of Freeport warehouse tax exemptions granted in Rankin County.
Well, let me add that. Now that
So it
brings
wouldn't
up a
be
good question.
Wouldn't be a hard
now.
thing to go check that.
Now, that brings up a good question. What, granting this exemption, what's to prevent other businesses from saying, look, this inventory is not for Rankin County, we're selling this out of state. So does that open up anything as far as other businesses to do the same things?
Well, I
And
hope
there are-
it were, we would attract businesses to do that.
Well, I know, I understand that, but with the inventory and stuff like that, how much of it is that we're losing?
They have to be, first, the way that he described it, they have to be meet whatever criteria is.
Correct.
First required.
I don't know what the
I don't
criteria
either.
are,
That's
to
what
be
I was
honest
asked
with you,
that.
Jared.
I don't
but-
know either.
the long and short of it is, Greg, that one way or the other, they are either entitled to the exemption or they're not.
Right.
They still have to ask for it. It has to be granted and given to them. If they're entitled to it, that's what state law allows.
Right.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve granting the
Guess we don't have much
exemption.
choice.
I'll send a text to John.
I can't, none of them are here to.
John's here.
Got a motion by Mr. Bishop to approve.
Second. No.
We got a second by Mr. Morrison. Any more
I know
questions?
where they're located in Richland.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Thank you.
The second item on the agenda under B is a discussion of our multipurpose arena fence project. I've got the map. By the way, this has already been sent to you guys for review. This map delineates items, or delineates parcels of property around the horse barn that indicate areas that the city of Brandon is requesting consideration of this board, that the county declare surplus and transfer to the city of Brandon. These are, and I'll bring them up here where it's a little bit easier, hopefully it'll be a little bit better. You've got 3 parcels of property here that the city of Brandon is asking for consideration on. I'm going to turn Greg's mic off right quick because this thing is.
Right.
This piece right here labeled on the map as tract 6, and by the way, these tracts are delineated because they are in sequence and they go with properties that the city of Brandon has already acquired from Rankin First as a part of the Rankin Trails project. All right, these are additional pieces of property that the city of Brandon is requesting consideration on that will allow for access to Marquette Road as a part of the Rankin Trails project. That's the purpose. This piece, tract 6, is located behind the Region 8 complex. At one time, we believed and were told that this piece of property belonged to Rankin County. We have since found out, Mark Baker, who was here earlier, actually did some title work and discovered that that piece of property is actually owned by Region 8. Okay. So this is no longer a part of the consideration. You do need to know that the Region 8 Board of Directors voted to transfer that piece of property to Brandon as part of the Rankin Trails project. So that's already been done. Okay. What this does, it will allow for the development of parking areas that will be for access to the trails that they're going to develop. And I think they have plans for a walking trail and plans for a running trail, and they also have plans for an amphitheater. This is, again, plans. Right. Now, the 2 pieces of property that are for our consideration are tract 7, which is a roughly 5-acre piece of property that is to the north of the horse barn property and is bordered by the power line easement that crosses down to Marquette, and by our entry area, our entry road that accesses the horse barn parking area. Primarily, it's the area where RV parking and other trailer parking congregates. So you can see the actual lines that show the property ownership. So that wedge-shaped 5-acre piece would be under consideration. This is a piece of property on which Mr. Dale has his, I call them his rock piles, but they are road surfacing materials that we have there. Those have been sort of, over time, they've come down in size, and that's sort of been anticipating some sort of activity on this, just getting ourselves ready in the event that you guys want to go in this direction. Mr. Dale has a plan that would allow for either the continued removal of that material down to nothing eventually, and a relocation either of that material if there's any left, or the storage of new material in the facility across Marquette. The other piece of property is this piece, a 1.22 acre piece that is on that southwest corner of our property. And this would connect to the property that Brandon currently owns. They acquired it from Rankin first. That will allow for access up and around that direction to get back here to the amphitheater that they have planned, and also to access this parking area for the trails.
Why can't you just go right around where it was?
I think the issue, as I appreciate it, and the mayor's available if you want to engage him in questions. My understanding is that they need this area as a part of being able to physically locate the amphitheater, that they will not have enough space without this additional property to be able to do that.
And just so y'all know, if you go out there and look at it, the property line is directly behind where our barn is. They're going to totally enclose us to where we have no buffer room at all.
What's I walk the entire surface and stuff, and you're correct, it's pretty close. I mean, this.
It's right out the back door.
Right here is the end of it.
And basically just want to take everything that is not the
Yes.
barn that's sitting on it.
Yes.
I mean, we looked at it and said, okay, we could use all of this.
Yeah. Which,
That's
you
fine.
know, some of that stuff, there's no way that there's no reason for them to take it, honestly. I mean, I think it's just too much myself. I don't like the way out the back. I think we need a little more room than that.
Where's the amphitheater?
I thought we wanted a buffer. I thought they wanted us to have a buffer.
Yeah, but obviously that's not the case.
I know, but I mean,
In this area right here.
well, it's not big enough to put an amphitheater in. Well, that's a big.
I think they're going to locate trails. A lot of this through here is going to be a trail system.
But you know, there's a high power, I don't know if you've ever been back there, but there's a major power line back there, and you can't put an amphitheater underneath one of them power lines.
Won't let you build on the power line.
You can't put a building underneath one.
No, what's the amphitheater? Want to be a building?
I don't know if it's
Well,
going to be.
it's
I guess
kind of
gonna
down
be
in the ground, but you got to build some type of structure down there.
You have to do something on it.
a structure as far as a building. I know that you can't do that.
You can't build any kind of structure on your power line.
Well, you're going to have to bring power down there.
That's the power line right there.
Yeah, unless they plan on changing up to underground.
So, I mean,
I thought
It just doesn't make any sense to
initially
me.
they wanted us to have a buffer. So, I mean, we have a buffer, and I think it's good that we have it. We
And-
have a buffer.
and y'all really need to go look at it, because even on the property to the east of us, there's no buffer there either. They literally is like 5 feet from from where our road is going in.
Talking about this piece on the north.
Yeah, yeah.
North right here.
Or north, yeah.
Because Dale, in addition to your rock pile out there, what else is available that usable for us?
That's all.
That's
That's all
basically
we
it.
use.
It's what?
That's all we use, is just that flat area there.
I mean, would it be usable for us in the future if we were to able to keep it?
Blue kind of type.
So it's a
Behind
slope?
That rock pile,
Yeah.
anything possible to do work.
Well, I know the mayor said that he would love to get that just to clean it up and make it all more presentable. That's what he had talked. That's the reason why he was wanting the 5 acres, to clean it up and make it look more presentable, not only for them but for us too. So.
I look like kind of squeezing us in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
To
Oh, I
where
understand what you're saying.
I think personally, this is just another step for them to try to take it over.
What's-
Taking everything that doesn't exist, that they don't already have now.
Well, if you're looking at a buffer, how much buffer are we looking at as far as what are we asking for as far as our side? As far as the county, what kind of buffer would make the county feel better?
Why don't we do this? It's just a suggestion. We've talked about for years in closing it. Why don't we get someone to come out and look at giving us a price on putting up a nice, iron fence and landscape around our whole facility. And once we do that, then we'll let them have whatever's left over.
Yeah, but we don't know what kind of buffer we're looking at. That's what I'm saying. How much
But
buffer?
if we can get us a nice, like, for instance, like down at the Trademark or the Livestock Pavilion, they right there on High Street.
Right.
And it looks nice from there. I think we'd be be doing ourselves a service to even, you know, to make it look good from the road.
I thought that was already in the budget anyway, to do a certain amount of fence anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if it's in the budget.
I think it was
60.
But I think, you know, we
just
said
the front.
take off 100 or something, but I think we backed it down.
It was mostly do the front gates
Front
and part of
facade
the front
and all
part,
that.
but, yeah.
That was chain link.
Yeah, it wasn't anything.
Right, wasn't it?
Yeah, or landscaping.
Right.
We probably had spent $200,000 to do it.
I just kinda hate to
Boxing in.
give up everything and all we have is just that one little piece when we do have this. Now, do we not have anything over here? This is the line right
That's
now.
correct,
Is
yes,
this-
sir. That's right.
Okay. I mean, it looks like he took them out and drew out everything that, I mean, you got a pie here and a white wedge here.
Ultimately, we're going to have to it may not be this board, but some board's going to have to do this.
And there's not much room between them and.
By the way, the cross ties look good. I don't know where you got all of them, but it looks nice the way it borders the parking lot out there.
Frugal. That's good. Does look good.
I think we've done all the construction we're going to do out there, so now would be a good time for us to finish it up.
Let me, you know, if I can make a suggestion, let me get with the mayor and see, and, you know, tell them some of the concerns and stuff like that, and see if they can reconfigure and stuff like that, because there may be, I mean, if that's okay with you guys.
Yeah.
You know, see if they can back off some.
Yeah, because when they initially came in, one that, everything was all fine.
More open, yeah.
I mean, it's all fine, but now,
It's like
you
you
hadn't realized they didn't quite get a little piece.
Well, it's all going to be cut soon, so
Huh?
that's what I'm saying. We need to go ahead and do something about landscaping, because eventually all that's going to be clear cut, and we're going to be sitting out there,
In a wide open.
and they're going to be pushing us to do something then.
Right. Okay. What I'll do is I'll get with the mayor on this, and supposed to be meeting with him today sometime, so I'm gonna take this and show him the concerns that we do have and see if we can negotiate on some of this. Any more discussion on that? I think we've beat that one down. What about, you got anything else, Craig?
No, sir.
Okay, Miss Laura Oster, County Administrator.
All right, first thing I have is authority to pay the constables allowance for lost costs not to exceed the amount of $1,800 each for bad Cherry, Brown, Beans, Cherry, Wyndham.
What is lost cost?
Man, don't even get into it. We have to do it. We don't have a choice.
No, we don't have a choice.
We'll fill you in on.
I mean, I've got lost costs. Okay.
It's actually better defined as state fail cases. Right, these are situations where they've effected service of process on a defendant throughout the year, and that defendant goes to trial and is found not guilty. There is no assessment of the actual costs on that defendant by virtue of being found not guilty. That's called a fail case. So the statute allows for the constables who are fee-based to be paid by this board out of county funds for those fail cases where they've done their job and they got the defendant there, but there's no reimbursement of their cost.
And just so you know, Ronnie, we worked a deal with them to where they got on to the state retirement system. They would no longer get paid this $1,800, and they were fine with that. But then the state came back and said, threw a wrench in and said we couldn't do it. So now we got to pay the $1,800. Why don't we just put that on consent every year anyway?
I don't even know. I was going to ask Craig. I don't even know why we even have to put it on here. If it is money that is due them,
Yeah.
We don't have any choice.
We have no discretion over,
Yeah.
then it would just go through payroll once a year. So we'll check into that. If not, we'll put it on consent. Let it
Okay.
go.
Rodney,
It's
we
just- it's
we
the last day of the year. We've
It's
got
been-
to
It's a
go
set
with all
amount.
those.
we
Let's
discussed
approve.
it in depth. Set amount.
Okay, so you got a motion
Always
by
comes at
Mr.
Christmas.
Bishop. Got a motion by Mr. Bishop. Do I have a second?
Yeah, let me second that.
Second by Mr. Keith. Any more questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Actually, usually it's earlier than this. It's usually
It is.
before Christmas.
It is. We just forgot about it, and we're at the end of the
Yeah.
year now, so.
Yeah.
The next item is approval to request, to renew the maintenance plan contract with Crossmatch Technologies Incorporated to be paid from the jail budget for the Sheriff's Department palm print scanner for the period of December 1/14 to November 30th of 2015, and authority to execute the contract and to issue the check in the amount of $2,138.80.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Bishop, second by Mr. Morrison. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
All right, the next item, I need authority to pay an invoice and issue the check in the amount of $3,871,644.60. This is for a partial billing of the 50% of the contract value of the Motorola Communications upgrade. Of the 50%, about 85% of the equipment was delivered, so that's why it's not quite 50% of it. As well as authority to issue this check, I also need to know from y'all, have about $1,280,000 short of the money that we had set aside. We made the original payment of $1,227,000 for the first 25%. Now we have this amount. I have about $1,280,000 that will be short in that fund. I can do one of two things. I can borrow it from General County. We can pay it back at a later date. We have the money to do that. Or I can go ahead and draw down from the lease that we have in place with Trustmark. Once I do that, though, the interest starts running. So if I could get permission to borrow it from General County, wait as long as we can before we have to draw it down and start the interest running, and then I'll pay it back to General County.
How much did we agree to put in? $5 million or $6 million? What did we pay down?
We are financing $4 million.
And it was 11?
And it was 9.
9? Okay.
Yes, they negotiated down from 11, I think, down to 9.
$9,109,000, I believe.
Right.
And
Okay.
we're only gonna finance 4.
So do we
Right.
need to change the motion to
Yeah,
borrow
yes.
the money from General County?
If you can, we'll add that in, and if you'll just, add that part in to borrow from General County funds to complete
I'll
the.
put that in form of motion.
A motion by Mr. Bishop,
Second.
second by Mr. Morrison. Questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
All right, thank you. The next item is approval to reappoint Deputy Chris Ainsworth as the Rankin County Fire Investigator for 2015.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Morrison, second by Mr. Keith. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
The next item is a little bit of discussion on the insurance rebate funds. At the end of the fiscal year in September, I cut a check for Brandon Fire Department. It was my understanding at that time that there was going to be the contract in place within just a few days and we released the check. The contract was not done, is not effective until January 1st of the upcoming year. So I voided that check. Then they wanted to know why they weren't getting it. I think we've got all that straight now. There's not a problem with that. But back in 2011 or 12, in the minutes, Greg had done a little sheet requesting that we start taking the insurance rebate money because it has strict rules that apply to it, and that the county keep that money. And in lieu of that, we would give the volunteer fire departments an amount equivalent out of our tax levy money. So the burden of what we spend it on would be on the county, such, big items like the fire trucks that we're buying. In this order that we did, even though it does say volunteer fire departments, I myself did not understand that the cities would be excluded from this. Craig did not, and from talking to several of y'all, none of us had the clear understanding that the cities would still get insurance rebate allocations and be responsible for that money, and we would keep the rest of it for the volunteer. So there's come up a little bit of question here, and I was going to let Brett explain to you why in his opinion, the cities, we have 5 entities, that should still get their portion of what is considered insurance rebate then we keep the balance of it and give the volunteers an equivalent portion of tax dollars.
Now, the reason why we did that, right, is because we pay their insurance on a lot of their vehicles, right?
Well, the reason we've always given them the insurance rebate money back because they pay a portion of the insurance. We bill them for their insurance and they pay their insurance to us. The reason that we started keeping that is because it can only be spent for, I believe, capital type expenditures, and some of the fire departments were having a hard time paying things such as utilities. Well, if we kept the insurance rebate, gave them an equal portion of tax levy, that money then is freed up for them
Okay.
to do way more things.
So it wasn't specific on what they had to spend their money on. The reason why we kind of changed it a little.
The way it was set up, you can spend that money on fire suppression equipment, which is fire trucks, turnout gear. I mean, anything that
They need to buy gas.
right. They
Basically
need to buy
open it.
gas. They need to buy diesel fuel. You know, stuff like that.
Tires, anything.
They can still. Those stipulations are still in there. They can still spend their money
Right.
on that, but we just loosen it up a little more. They can pay
Open it.
their internet.
We did that
bills.
because it was restricting them so to be able to, how they could spend it.
Right. That's
That, we
correct.
did that 2 years ago, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the only problem with it now, it can still work that way. We just need a clarification of the cities.
Well, shouldn't we just let them have it because they got to deal with their own stuff? Why should we be?
The municipalities. I mean,
Right.
the way the first time I presented it, it was going to be the municipalities were going to stay the way they were going to get their true insurance rebate money, and the volunteer departments were going to have the looser restrictions on it.
They have what restriction?
The looser restrictions, like the new
Yeah,
restrictions.
right.
The municipalities buy turnouts. I mean, they have new people that come every other month. So I mean, they're always buying their stuff. They don't have a problem spending their money.
Mhm.
Where the volunteer departments do. That's the reason why we rewrote it, where we would keep all of the insurance rebate money for the volunteer departments. We'd spend it on fire trucks, which is a legal way to spend that money.
And that's what we're doing. We just want to put on the 5th, and it can go through consent, a clarification that the volunteers will get a tax levy portion. We'll keep the insurance rebate, but the cities and municipalities will continue to get
Their full amount.
Their full
insurance
amount.
rebate money.
Right.
And the municipalities don't know a difference. They, every year we do a year-end report, and we have to report back to the state what money is spent and all that. The municipalities are still saying that they're spending insurance rebate money.
Yeah.
Which therein lies the problem, because I'm saying we've kept it, so my figures
So
basically
we just need to get
are
it
not
on straight.
tied to theirs.
All right.
It's just to straighten it out on the 5th.
All right.
Clerical. Okay. All right.
We good?
Sounds like a plan.
All right.
We good? Thank you.
The remaining that I have is just review of any agenda items for the 5th.
That's what Chuck was looking for.
I'd like to add something, if we can, maybe not the 5th, I don't think we'll have enough time, but to honor the people from the Red Star Road.
Yes.
I'll give them credit, give them the name.
That sounds like a plan. Yeah. That's a
Yeah.
great idea.
Yeah.
That was a.
Maybe a name.
How was the young lady?
Okay, well, I can get that. Yeah, just, okay, throw it in our way. I would see if they'd like to maybe.
I'd like to do that on the 5th.
Yeah.
As soon and near in time as possible.
Sheriff, how's the young lady doing?
My understanding is she ate yesterday, and they're supposed to possibly move to a room today.
Good.
So
That's a
her
blessing.
mind's not.
As far as I, that haven't heard anything, no negative reports, everything's been
Because
positive.
isn't it
Man, that's
like you
great.
cut oxygen off your brain for so long that.
And she was, her lungs were full of water when they got back. Because the
How?
deputy was going to see, she started breathing mud and water came out.
How? Because I got two different reports. I got 5 minutes and I got 10 minutes. How?
The high times run together.
Yeah.
She was underwater for 5 to 10 minutes.
Man, that's a.
Well,
I mean, that is a
did it,
miracle.
I mean, how did it happen?
The little girl was trying to show her mother a picture, and when she looked back, she sort of didn't know how you look. Your steering wheel go to the left. And she was on the left-hand side of the road. She jerked back and just overcorrected.
Oh, man. Huh?
Man.
Well, you know that it's real steep.
Yep.
Shoulder right there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Always water.
Man,
Yeah.
kudos to all the people that were involved in all that, man.
Just fortunate people
Yes,
right there.
you ain't kidding. Yeah, that would be wonderful. Thank you, Sheriff. And that was a good article you put out there too. That was, appreciate that. All right. Anything on the agenda and the consent for Monday? jumping out at anybody. Doesn't look like too much of a. I don't think much will happen between now and Monday.
It'll be a short meeting Monday.
So do we recess or adjourn?
What, I just had a quick question on this, consent approval, just to clarify, B on one,
On the consent?
under one. What is that?
It's on the trust mark.
Yeah, on the 28th, on our communications, we awarded Trustmark the lease, on that, the lease purchase on that equipment. On my notes that I took that day, it said there was, potential discussion and maybe awarding it, which we did do. I did not write down on my notes that we awarded it to Trustmark because I knew we were going to, by virtue of what we were doing. Jessica used my notes, and I didn't have that, so she put it in just as we stated, so it didn't actually award it. What we did, I even have an email that I sent out to John Yao at Trustmark. We did the paperwork, so this is basically clearing up a clerical error.
And I had it on my.
The, when is Lynn coming?
Working on the schedule.
8th or 9th, I talked to him late yesterday. He said he would block out the days, these 2 days for y'all. And he said that he could be available either January the 8th or the 9th or both, whatever y'all need to do.
Do we have a work session that day or something?
No.
No, we're gonna do our standard.
Oh,
twos?
okay.
Okay.
Before we leave, please, let's get together with Ms. Janice and let's get y'all's
Schedule.
times and dates worked out that's best for y'all.
Okay.
Can we not just have them come on the 15th?
I'll check and see if that's what you want.
If y'all prefer that.
Craig said just as soon as possible.
As quickly as we could.
So that's why.
I'm gonna be out of town then.
Okay.
That's the only reason I'm asking.
You're okay with 15?
Yeah.
Well, I'll check with him and see if he can come the 15th then. Well, actually, I think that's
No, this is a change.
What day is the 8th on?
Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday.
Yeah, well, if we can like come in after our board meeting the 15th, that'd be great. Like we can recess and come back after lunch or something.
Just for discussion.
Yeah, just for discussion.
That works.
That way we could all
Clears-
be here, we could all
clears
hear
it all
the
up.
same thing.
That's right.
Okay.
All right.
If it works for him.
Any more questions
yeah,
on,
the 15th on Thursday.
All right.
any more questions on the agenda or the,
No, not on the
Consent.
agenda, but I just want to ask, kind of, when do we set the time that, Rankin First will be meeting with us?
yeah, what is that?
That's their meeting, and I think that's
That's
the,
right.
Yeah, American
the 19th, I believe.
19th or 20th?
Yeah,
Yeah, the 19th.
okay.
Because I've gotten a couple phone calls on this,
The Blake?
The Blake. Yeah.
What?
It is,
why,
I hate I missed that discussion, man.
Why
That
did
should
we
be
not?
interesting.
you weren't here.
I know.
Yeah, you weren't.
I hate it.
Yeah, me too.
20th. You got it on our
But
calendars
anyway,
for us?
on the 19th.
Have you already got it on our calendars for us, Janice?
I believe that I have. Rankin
Okay.
First Director of Board of Directors meeting room, at the chamber.
Yeah,
101
put-
Service Drive. It's on your calendar.
Well, just put in there if you would, kind of update it, make sure that that's where they're gonna discuss also about the specifics.
You know what's not on my calendar? Board meeting Monday.
Are you in?
No, he doesn't have a board meeting for this Monday.
It's January the 20th.
No.
Do we adjourn or recess?
What?
Anything else, guys?
Hmm?
Adjourn or
Yeah,
recess?
I'm talking
We adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn till January 5th, 9 a.m.?
I'll second Rodney's motion.
Motion by Mr. Keith, second by Mr. Bishop. Any questions? All in favor say aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Hello, Mr. Burns. Good.
Sir.